Hey, this is a walkthrough of the song I made for the Loop Off contest. I'm just going to go through every single sound I made. So I'll start off with this main lead synth. So this is the Nympha sound, wait for it. So if you hold down a note and you wait for it, you'll hear... It starts getting more kind of gritty, I guess. But I usually don't really wait for it. I'm just using this like a little saw synth. I've got a pitch shifter here. This is adding vibrato with a slight delay and a tiny little pluck at the start. I've added a filter. So this is just an ADSR envelope. I've got a reverb and a delay. And I've got this second pitch shifter, but this is more for the effects I'm doing. Like stuff like that. And I'm actually using it here. This is how I first started out using this sound. I wanted a cool little transition. And this little note riser. Like this one does wait long enough for the sound to start getting more gnarly, so it's like a cool little transition sound. Here I've got a second copy. This has an LFO and ADSR on pitch again, but this time the filter is much wider open, so you get less of a filter closing type of sound. Cut out the low end, reverb delay. This is just kind of to thicken up the sound a little bit. And over here is doing some cool chords. Then one of my favorite sounds, the sort of 80s choir-y sounding wavetable from the Waldorf M. I'm just not using that like a pad, I'm using it like a little plug. I've got a tool on here, and then I put an LFO on the pan, so you get up and down. Delay, and there's a filter again. You can see what that's doing here. Just a little pluckier. Another Waldorf lead. Here I've got a really fast LFO on it's a notch filter. It's giving you a little bit of like a slight, what's that, like a phaser I think? I'm not sure. Either way, it sounds pretty cool. And this is another pitch shifter doing the LFO trick. Oh, and it's also doing this. So if I remove this. See, it just makes the sounds a bit wonkier to do that. It's great. Reverb, delay, as always. I've got this still on here. I've got a feeling that this entire bus I just copied from the other one, because I'm not using this for anything. So because this isn't actually being automated, I think. Yeah, see, it's just a straight line. All right. This is the sound that comes in. Should probably start with this one first. This is a really nice pad sound. It's like sort of triangle pad. And later on I bring in the second pad, which is a Waldorf M. It's just sort of bit of interest. And I have also the second sound layered with the lead. It's got a chorus on it. Other than that, it should all be familiar. I think this is again doing the panning. And pitch shifter, filter, delay. It's very subtle, but it just adds a tiny bit of like initial attack to the sound. That's the little break. And then we get here. I reintroduce this motif again. It's got the volumes going up. And I've got this pad going on here. This is the Hydrosynth piano pad, but I added a bit of attack inside the Decent Sampler. So you remove that strike sound and you get a softer sound. Oh. I added this sound back in here. I should point out, actually, that I'm messing with the delay mix. I'm increasing it here. And this is just sort of to make these transitions sound a bit better, because I usually use like white noise risers and stuff, but there were none in this sample pack. Or maybe I could have maybe fashioned one out of the Percons or something, but no, decided to just do it like this. So that's the little, what's this, like a breakdown before it goes back into the main part. Bass, we all like bass. Nymphus. And what's cool here is as well, it like has a little delay before I feel like the filter opens or something on the original synth. And that goes really well with these stabs. What I'm doing here is I'm adding some saturation. I filter out a lot of the high end just so it fits nicer with these pads. And it's got very minor EQ. The pads, let's see, I've got two of them, and this is actually something I think is pretty cool. This is a Hydrosynth. It's like almost like a sort of string machine or something. But you can hear there's a slight attack to the sound, or like it takes a little bit before it reaches full volume. And this sound, this is a Nymphus. It's like a bit quicker. This is actually the lead sound, but I've changed it a bit. Added a bit of attack on the filter, so you get like more of that filter opening and closing type sound. And here we got chorus and blur. Blur's cool. Like it adds a bit like stereo wideness, I feel. Well, I've got these layered, and I've got one slightly panned to the right and one to the left. And because of the difference in speed of the attack, you get like a slight stereo effect. And the bass has that slight delay as well. So I just thought that worked really well. Drums is the last bit. So the main drum sound here comes from the this module. I think it's called, is it just called a Rabbit? So I named the man. Oh, I'm not quite sure. You can see it here. I'm not a modular person, so sounds great though. So that's doing the main kick. This one. And then we got this sort of rim shot sound. And because I wanted more of a snare hit, I layered it with this, I think this is the Percons. There it is. And this is just like a, see, like a bit of white noise, see, sort of hat. And I've got a attack on the EQ. So sort of cuts out the high end. You get more of a snap. So if you layer it. Here we have the chickas. Like that chicka chicka sound. That usually in drums like just gives it a bit more of a syncopated feel. So I imitated that here, and this is Percons, I think. Yeah. Lots of cool sounds in there. Bunch of EQ, just to sort of, here I'm using that little trick again. And I've actually got a little bit of an attack here to get like that sort of chicka chicka sort of sound. I'll stop embarrassing myself making these mouth noises. Hi-hats. I'm using a really short decay here just to make them super snappy. And here I've got a sample and hold on the pan, so you can see that's going all over the place in the stereo field. Just makes it a bit cooler. And here's like a sort of got a bandpass on here at a really high frequency. I'm pitch shifting it up as well, and I'm again doing that really short attack decay fit on the volume. Just to give that sort of closed hi-hat sound. And you can see actually every single time the snare hits, I remove the hi-hats, so you get like more of a snap when the snare hits. And in this section, you can see I'm using a slightly different kick instead of the old. Just still using that same rim shot. Now I'm not layering any sound on top, so it sounds like a rim shot. And I've added this sort of a cowbell, I guess, attempt at a cowbell, and that's oh, that's not gonna work. That sound, and I'm using a comb filter here to emphasize the frequencies around 500. So you get that sound. And here I'm adding some more stuff back in. So yeah, I think that's basically the song. I'll show you the master channel real quick. I've got a tiny bit of reverb, very subtle. That's, I don't know, I like doing that now. I used to think that was a really bad idea, but I liked how it sounded, so I did it. This cuts the volume of the master channel as a... I've got like a tool. I'm automating the volume down to negative infinity. You can see that here. And it's just so that you get these really funky little cuts. And I've got a high pass and a low pass. And this is for transitions, basically. This is JB Ferox. I'm not sure. But it's a tape sim. I'm just using this to add saturation on the master. Tape saturation sounds great. So, yeah. And finally, a bit of ozone. This is something you can usually get for free. I got mine for free, but I think normally they ask $50 for it. And you can just basically get it to master your song by just playing back a bit of audio and it'll analyze it. It's a good starting point, but I absolutely suck at mastering. So nowadays I usually just stick it on the low intensity and call it a day. And you can see it's fixed some of my crappy EQ. So, oh yeah, and finally I've got my voice here. So if I sound really awkward during this video, it's because I can hear myself. It's a bit, it's not ideal, but I figured I'd give you guys insight in how I made the song anyway. So thank you for watching. I hope you learned something. And you can check out the project file. If you have Bitwig, you should be able to load it. All you need is decent sampler. Well, it would be nice to also have JV Verox and the Ozone elements, but without those two, it'll just not have this on the master channel and it will still run. So, thank you and have a nice day.